Lucas Almeida, a 20-year-old young man, was born and raised in a peripheral neighborhood of a large city. His childhood was marked by financial difficulties and the constant efforts of his single mother, who worked tirelessly at 2 jobs to support the family. From an early age, Lucas displayed sharp intelligence and natural charm, traits that set him apart from his peers. Despite the adversities, he always maintained hope for a better future, fueled by grand dreams of wealth and success. Lucas always dreamed of a life of luxury and financial stability. In his fantasies, he saw himself living in mansions, driving sports cars, and traveling the world without worries. For him, money represented not just comfort, but the freedom to escape the limitations imposed by poverty. Determined to change his destiny, he dropped out of school at 18 to work low-paying jobs, but never lost sight of his primary goal: to climb the social ladder and live the life he always desired. Physically, Lucas is impressive. Standing at 6 feet tall, with an athletic and well-defined body thanks to his time in the gym, he is the kind of man who catches attention wherever he goes. His light brown hair and piercing blue eyes complement his charming smile, which he skillfully uses to win people over. Besides his looks, Lucas developed refined seduction skills, becoming an excellent communicator. He knows exactly what to say and how to act to gain people's trust, observing and adapting to others' emotions and intentions with ease. His presence is magnetic, exuding confidence and charisma, and he always dresses elegantly, opting for second-hand clothes that are carefully chosen to enhance his appearance and project a high status. On the other side of the story is Donna Helena Montenegro, a 75-year-old woman whose life is a mosaic of achievements and tragedies. Born into a wealthy family, Helena was always surrounded by luxury and privilege. She married young to a visionary businessman, and together they built a financial empire that placed them at the top of the social elite. However, Helena's life was not free of suffering. She lost her husband in a tragic car accident and, years later, saw her only child succumb to a devastating illness. These profound losses shaped her strong and independent personality, transforming her into an imposing figure, respected and feared by many. Helena hides many secrets behind her controlled and dignified facade. Among them are forbidden loves and business dealings she prefers to keep in the shadows. Despite everything, she maintained her position as a woman of mystery and shrewdness, always a step ahead of her adversaries. Her lifestyle is the epitome of luxury. She resides in an imposing mansion located in the city's most exclusive neighborhood. The house is a true palace, with lush gardens, sophisticated decor, and an art collection that many envy. Helena has a dedicated team of staff who attend to all her needs, but despite her advanced age, she continues to manage her own business and actively participate in social life, maintaining an impeccable appearance and dressing in designer clothes and elegant jewelry. The encounter between Lucas and Helena happened at a luxurious charity event held in an opulent ballroom filled with high society members. The room was decorated with sparkling chandeliers, tables covered with white linen cloths, and fresh flowers arranged elaborately. Knowing the presence of influential figures at the event, Lucas decided to infiltrate, pretending to be an up-and-coming young businessman. Using his seduction skills and charm, he mingled with the elite, distributing smiles and fake business cards. During the event, Helena was seen alone, admiring a piece of art up for auction. Lucas, seizing the opportunity, approached her with a clever comment about the piece, initiating an engaging conversation. He impressed her with his superficial knowledge of art and his eloquent manner of speaking. As the night went on, Helena, tired and a bit shaken by memories of the past evoked by the artwork, decided to leave early. On her way out, she felt dizzy and almost fell. Lucas, watching closely, quickly supported her, creating a moment of connection. He offered to accompany her home, gaining her trust. From that encounter, Helena began to see Lucas as a charming and attentive young man. They spent the night talking about their lives, with Lucas sharing carefully constructed stories about his business life and ambitions. Grateful for Lucas's kindness, Helena started inviting him to social events and private meetings, gradually letting him into her luxurious life and creating a false sense of security and trust. Lucas, with his determination and charm, began to seduce Helena using a series of carefully planned strategies. He knew that winning her heart wouldn't be easy, so he decided to impress her with grand gestures and exaggerated acts of kindness. Lucas invited Helena to exclusive restaurants, where he chose the best wines and the most sophisticated dishes. During these dinners, he showed his sensitive side, sharing emotional and often fabricated stories about his difficult childhood and dreams of a better future. He listened attentively to every word Helena said, making her feel special and valued. On one such occasion, he took her to a restaurant with a panoramic view of the city, where an orchestra played softly in the background, creating an atmosphere of romance and intimacy. Lucas knew that expensive gifts could impress Helena, so he spared no expense. He gifted her stunning jewelry, designer bags, and even a surprise trip to a luxury resort. Each gift was delivered with a personal touch, like a handwritten letter expressing his admiration and affection. In one particularly memorable moment, Lucas arranged for an exotic flower delivery to Helena's office, with a romantic note that left her touched. Lucas didn't hold back in showing his dedication. He took her on long drives in his car, cared for her when she was ill, and was always available for any need. Once, sensing that Helena was feeling lonely, Lucas surprised her at her mansion with a homemade dinner prepared by him. He knew that these small acts of kindness were crucial in winning her heart. The relationship between Lucas and Helena began to attract the attention of friends and family, generating suspicion and skepticism. Lucas's friends, especially his best friend Raphael, started to question his intentions. Raphael, who had known Lucas since childhood, knew he always had a plan and warned him about the risks of getting involved with Helena for her wealth. One night, while drinking at a bar, Raphael confronted Lucas directly. "You're playing with fire, man. That woman is no fool. If you get caught, it could be the end of everything." Lucas, with his usual charm, downplayed Raphael's concerns, assuring him that everything was under control and that he knew what he was doing. On Helena's side, her niece Laura, a shrewd and protective middle-aged woman, also began to suspect the relationship. Laura had always looked out for Helena's interests and was alarmed by Lucas's rapid approach. At a family dinner, Laura decided to confront Helena. "Aunt, you barely know this guy. What if he's just after your money?" Helena, trusting her own intuition, defended Lucas, but the seed of doubt planted by Laura began to linger. Lucas, sensing the challenges, started manipulating situations to his advantage. With Raphael, he reinforced his loyalty, making him feel part of the plan. "Rafa, I trust you more than anyone. I'm doing this for both of us. Once I get the inheritance, we'll finally get out of this misery." With Laura, he was even more strategic. He invited her for coffee and, during the conversation, opened up about his hardships, sharing emotional stories about his mother and their struggle to survive. He managed to win her sympathy by showing a vulnerable side, saying, "I understand your concern, Laura, but my intentions are pure. I really care about your aunt." Despite all his precautions, there were moments when Lucas was almost discovered. On one occasion, while reviewing financial documents in Helena's mansion, Lucas let slip some information he shouldn't have known. Helena, suspicious, asked, "How do you know that?" Quick on his feet, Lucas fabricated a convincing excuse, mentioning a past conversation they had. Helena accepted the explanation, but Lucas realized he needed to be more careful. Lucas's seduction strategies, combined with his ability to manipulate challenging situations, allowed him to continue gaining Helena's trust and overcoming the suspicions of friends and family. However, the seeds of doubt planted by Raphael and Laura began to grow, creating an underlying tension that could unravel Lucas's meticulously constructed plan at any moment. The wedding of Lucas and Helena was a grand event, held in the lush gardens of Helena's mansion. The setting was breathtaking, with arches of white and pink flowers lining the path to the altar, where a luxurious gazebo decorated with white silk curtains and crystal chandeliers awaited the couple. Prestigious guests, including businesspeople, politicians, and high society members, filled the venue, all curious about the unusual union. Lucas looked impeccable in a tailored suit, his confident posture and charming smile masking any nervousness he might have felt. Helena, on the other hand, radiated elegance in a classic wedding dress adorned with delicate lace and pearls. As she walked down the aisle holding a bouquet of white lilies, her expression mixed serenity with a touch of nostalgia. The guests murmured among themselves, some admiring the courage and unlikely love between the couple, while others expressed skepticism and suspicion about Lucas's true intentions. Laura, Helena's niece, watched the ceremony with a serious expression, her gaze fixed on Lucas, still doubting his intentions. Raphael, Lucas's friend, attended the ceremony, staying on the sidelines, worried about his friend's future. In the first days after the wedding, Lucas and Helena enjoyed a honeymoon at a luxury resort on the Mediterranean coast. Lucas made an effort to show a caring and dedicated side, providing romantic and attentive moments for Helena. They strolled along the beach at sunset, dined by candlelight, and explored picturesque towns, creating memories that seemed to dispel any doubts Helena had about his love. Back at the mansion, the daily routine began to settle in. Initially, Helena appreciated Lucas's constant company and his willingness to help with business and household management. However, soon a shift in the power dynamic began to emerge. Lucas, now more secure in his role, started taking more control over financial and personal decisions. The intimate moments between Lucas and Helena were intense, with Lucas striving to keep the romance alive. He organized candlelit dinners, surprised Helena with unexpected gifts, and even prepared bubble baths for her after long days. These displays of affection served to reinforce Helena's trust, but also masked Lucas's growing anxiety. Over time, Helena started noticing small inconsistencies in Lucas's stories and behaviors that made her uncomfortable. She realized that Lucas avoided certain topics and got nervous when she mentioned details about her past. One night, Helena found Lucas examining financial documents with suspicious interest. When she questioned him, Lucas quickly made up an excuse, but the seed of doubt was already planted. Lucas, in turn, was becoming increasingly anxious. The pressure to keep his plan a secret and the possibility of being discovered were eating away at him. He started sleeping less, worried about every move and word. His paranoia grew, fearing that someone like Laura or Raphael might reveal his true intentions to Helena. Conflicts began to arise, initially as small arguments, but quickly escalating into more intense confrontations. In one of these arguments, Helena confronted Lucas about his true intentions, accusing him of being interested only in her fortune. Lucas, in a mix of anger and desperation, tried to turn the tables, accusing Helena of not trusting him and being paranoid. Lucas started using manipulative tactics to keep Helena under control. He became excessively attentive after each argument, trying to regain her trust through exaggerated acts of kindness. However, he also began isolating Helena from her friends and family, arguing that they were trying to sabotage the marriage. He took more control over finances and household decisions, always justifying his actions as measures to protect Helena and her fortune. The post-wedding dynamic between Lucas and Helena became a silent battle of power and mistrust. While Lucas fought to keep his plan a secret, Helena started seeing through his charm, realizing the true intentions behind his actions. The growing tension between them promised a dramatic resolution, where the truth could finally come out with unpredictable consequences for both. As the months passed, Lucas began to notice strange events and behaviors from Helena that he couldn't decipher. It all started when she began receiving mysterious letters from unknown senders. The letters arrived by mail, delivered personally by a courier. Helena, always discreet, kept the letters in a locked drawer in her office and never discussed their content with Lucas. One afternoon, Lucas observed Helena opening one of these letters. He saw her expression change from curiosity to concern, and then to a satisfied smile. When he casually asked about the letter, Helena simply said it was old family matters, and quickly changed the subject. Despite all his efforts, there were moments when Lucas was nearly discovered. On one occasion, while reviewing financial documents in Helena's mansion, Lucas let slip some information he shouldn't have known. Helena, suspicious, asked, "How do you know that?" Quick on his feet, Lucas fabricated a convincing excuse, mentioning a past conversation they had. Helena accepted the explanation, but Lucas realized he needed to be more careful. Lucas's seduction strategies, combined with his ability to manipulate challenging situations, allowed him to continue gaining Helena's trust and overcoming the suspicions of friends and family. However, the seeds of doubt planted by Raphael and Laura began to grow, creating an underlying tension that could unravel Lucas's meticulously constructed plan at any moment. Besides the letters, Helena started receiving strange phone calls. Whenever the phone rang, she would step away to take them in private. Lucas, pretending disinterest, tried to catch fragments of the conversations, but Helena spoke in a low voice, almost whispering, making it impossible to understand what was being said. After one of these calls, Lucas saw her hang up the phone with a thoughtful look, as if she was pondering something important. Helena also began making enigmatic comments that made Lucas uncomfortable. During a dinner, she casually mentioned, "You know, Lucas, sometimes people are not what they seem. Some secrets are deeper than we imagine." Lucas, trying to hide his nervousness, just smiled and changed the subject, but her words echoed in his mind for days. Another time, while they were walking through the mansion's gardens, Helena suddenly stopped and looked at Lucas, saying, "Trust is a fragile thing, don't you think? It can be destroyed by a single lie." Lucas felt a chill run down his spine but maintained his composure, responding with a vague comment about the importance of honesty. Growing more anxious, Lucas started investigating discreetly. One night, while Helena was out at a social event, he entered her office and began searching. He found the locked drawer where she kept the mysterious letters. Using a key he had hidden, he managed to open the drawer. Inside, he found several handwritten letters, with messages ranging from financial advice to warnings about trusting people around her. As he read, Lucas heard footsteps in the hallway. His heart raced. He quickly put the letters back and locked the drawer, leaving the office before Helena could catch him. This incident increased his paranoia and distrust. Another tense situation occurred when Lucas overheard Helena talking to her niece Laura in one of the mansion's salons. He hid behind a slightly open door and caught fragments of the conversation. "He doesn't know anything," Helena said. "I have everything under control. Just stick to the plan." Lucas couldn't hear the rest of the conversation, but those words heightened his suspicion that Helena was plotting something. The tension peaked when Lucas found suspicious documents in Helena's office. One morning, while she was busy in a meeting, Lucas entered her office again. In a folder marked "Confidential," he found papers related to changes in Helena's will. The documents suggested she was redistributing her fortune in a way that would exclude him. However, before he could read everything, he heard footsteps approaching and had to leave quickly, putting the folder back in place. These subtle clues and near-discovery situations left Lucas in a constant state of alert and paranoia. Helena, on the other hand, continued to act enigmatically, keeping Lucas suspicious and anxious. The tension between them increased daily, setting the stage for an explosive revelation that was about to happen. The night was silent at the Montenegro mansion. The wind blew gently, making the curtains sway in the open windows. Lucas was in the office, reviewing the suspicious documents he had found earlier. His heart was pounding, and the tension in his body was palpable. Suddenly, the office door slowly opened. Helena entered, her expression serious and determined. Lucas tried to hide the documents, but he knew he had been caught. Helena walked firmly to the desk and looked directly into Lucas's eyes. "Lucas, I think it's time we had an honest conversation," she said, her voice cold and controlled. Lucas tried to keep his composure, but his voice trembled as he responded, "Sure, Helena. What do you want to talk about?" Helena sat in the chair opposite Lucas, elegantly crossing her legs. "From the beginning, I knew you had ulterior motives," she began. "I knew it wasn't my love you were after, but my fortune." Lucas's eyes widened, trying to formulate a response. "Helena, that's not true. I really love you." Helena smiled, but it was a joyless smile. "Come on, Lucas. Let's recall a few moments, shall we?" Her voice became soft, almost hypnotic, as she began to narrate past events. Helena remembered the moment Lucas first appeared at the charity event. She knew something was off when he approached her with so much superficial knowledge about art. She had hired a private investigator to check his background and soon discovered he came from a poor neighborhood and had dropped out of school to work low-paying jobs. Helena recalled the mysterious letters she received. They were all from the investigator, informing her about Lucas's movements, his conversations with friends, especially Raphael, and his plans to infiltrate her life. Helena also mentioned the enigmatic phone calls. She had been in constant contact with her lawyer, adjusting her will to ensure Lucas wouldn't have access to her fortune if anything happened to her. "You really thought you could fool me?" Helena asked. "I adjusted my will to ensure you wouldn't see a cent of my fortune. Every gift and favor you thought I didn't notice has been recorded." Lucas felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. His disbelief was followed by a wave of anger and despair. "You knew all along?" he shouted, his hands trembling. "You used me too. You made me believe you trusted me." Helena remained impassive. "I wanted to see how far you would go. And frankly, I'm disappointed. I thought you were smarter." Lucas abruptly stood up, the chair falling behind him. "You don't understand," he yelled. "I had to do this. I needed to get out of that miserable life. You don't know what it's like to live with nothing." Helena, keeping calm, continued. "You don't know the whole story, Lucas. I've had my share of suffering. I lost my husband and my son. I've been through things you can't even imagine. But that doesn't justify your actions." Lucas, overcome with despair, fell to his knees. "Please, Helena, I'll do anything. Just don't leave me with nothing. I have nowhere to go." Helena sighed, her gaze softening a bit. "Lucas, if you had been honest from the start, things could have been different. I might have helped you in other ways. But now, you have to face the consequences of your actions." Helena stood up and walked to the door. "I'll give you a chance to leave this situation with some dignity. Tomorrow morning, you will leave this house and not return. If you try anything, I have enough evidence to destroy you." Lucas, still on his knees, looked at her with tears in his eyes. "What about us? Doesn't that mean anything?" Helena paused at the door, looking over her shoulder at him. "It did, Lucas. But you destroyed that with your lies." With that, she left the office, leaving Lucas alone with his crushing defeat. Helena's revelation was devastating for Lucas. His disbelief, anger, and despair were evident as he desperately tried to salvage what was left of his failed plan. The scene made it clear that Helena had always been one step ahead, protecting herself and ensuring Lucas could not take advantage of her. The tension between them reached its peak, setting the stage for the inevitable consequences to follow. The tension between Lucas and Helena had reached its boiling point. After the devastating revelation in the office, Helena decided to confront Lucas definitively. She chose a strategic moment, right after a dinner where friends and family were present, to maximize the impact. The guests had just left, and the mansion was silent. Lucas was in the main hall, with a glass of whiskey in hand, trying to process the earlier revelation. Helena entered the hall, her posture imposing and her eyes gleaming with determination. She was accompanied by Laura and the family's trusted lawyer, Mr. Carvalho, a middle-aged man with an authoritative presence. Helena began to speak, her voice firm and clear. "Lucas, it's time to clear everything up, in front of those who need to know the truth." Lucas looked around, confused and worried, as Helena continued. "I knew from the beginning that you were after my fortune. I allowed you to think you were in control, but in reality, I was the one running the game." Feeling cornered, Lucas tried to counterattack. "You don't know what it's like to live with nothing, Helena. I did what I did because I was desperate. I wanted a better life for me and my mother." Helena, unshaken, responded, "I understand desperation, Lucas. But you chose the path of manipulation and lies. I lost my husband and my son. I know pain and suffering, but I never resorted to deceiving someone to get what I wanted." Helena signaled to Mr. Carvalho, who handed her a folder full of documents. "Here is all the evidence I've gathered against you, from the letters and reports of the private investigator to the records of your suspicious conversations and movements. I've already contacted the authorities and am ready to take legal action." Desperate, Lucas made one last plea to Helena. "Please, Helena, don't do this. I can change. I really care about you, even if it started with second intentions." Helena shook her head. "You've had many chances, Lucas. Now, it's too late. Helena handed the folder to Mr. Carvalho, who promptly started calling the authorities. "The police will be here soon to take you away, Lucas," said Helena with a final tone. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Lucas fell to his knees, begging for a second chance. Helena approached Lucas and, with a cold tone, said, "You have until tomorrow morning to leave this house. I've already packed your things. Any attempt to resist will only worsen your situation." Laura, watching closely, couldn't hide a slight smile of satisfaction. She had always suspected Lucas and now saw her aunt taking control of the situation. Raphael, Lucas's friend, arrived shortly after the confrontation, having been called by Lucas in a moment of desperation. Hearing the account of what happened, Raphael shook his head sadly. "I warned you, Lucas. Now you need to face the consequences." Laura, with a look of triumph, said to Helena, "You did the right thing, Aunt. He never deserved your trust." The next morning, Lucas was escorted out of the mansion by security hired by Helena. With his reputation destroyed and nowhere to go, he faced an uncertain future. Helena, for her part, felt a mix of sadness and relief. She knew taking this action was necessary to protect herself and her fortune, but regretted the loss of what could have been a true relationship. The dramatic confrontation exposed the true motivations and feelings of Lucas and Helena. Using her intelligence and resources, Helena managed to turn the situation in her favor, ensuring Lucas faced the consequences of his actions. Lucas's expulsion from the mansion and the legal measures taken against him demonstrated Helena's strength and determination to protect her life and legacy, while the secondary characters reacted according to their own suspicions and loyalties. After being expelled from the mansion, Lucas wandered aimlessly through the city, feeling the weight of his actions and their devastating consequences. Without money and nowhere to stay, he ended up seeking refuge in a homeless shelter. During those difficult days, Lucas deeply reflected on his choices and the motivations that led him to deceive Helena. The media quickly seized the story, exposing the scandal of the young con artist who tried to take over the fortune of a rich and powerful woman. The public humiliation was an additional blow for Lucas, who lost any chance of rebuilding his reputation in high society. After some time at the shelter, Lucas decided he needed to change his life. He found a modest job at a small company, where he started working as an administrative assistant. Over time, he proved to be a dedicated and reliable worker, slowly gaining the respect of his colleagues. However, the shadow of his past still loomed over him, constantly reminding him of the consequences of his actions. Back at the mansion, Helena resumed her routine with renewed determination. She reorganized her finances, ensuring her assets were protected against future threats. Additionally, Helena became more actively involved in philanthropic causes, using her experience to help other vulnerable people avoid falling into similar traps. Helena also strengthened her bond with Laura, who had now become her main confidant and business partner. Together, they fortified the family business, implementing new strategies that resulted in growth and financial stability. Raphael, Lucas's friend, maintained contact with him, offering support and encouragement. Although disappointed by Lucas's choices, Raphael believed in his capacity for redemption and helped him stay on the right path. Laura, on the other hand, felt a mix of relief and justice seeing her aunt regain peace and control over her life. The story of Lucas and Helena serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of greed and manipulation. Lucas, in his desperate pursuit of wealth and status, chose a path of deception and betrayal that not only destroyed his own life, but also deeply affected those around him. His story illustrates how the relentless pursuit of wealth can lead to personal and moral ruin. Helena, on the other hand, represents strength and resilience. Despite being targeted for manipulation, she used her intelligence and resources to protect herself and ensure justice. Her ability to forgive, while remaining firm, shows the importance of balancing compassion and self-defense. The story makes us reflect on the complexity of human relationships and the motivations that drive our actions. Greed can blind us to the consequences of our actions, leading us to make decisions that compromise our integrity and humanity. Justice, on the other hand, is not just about punishment but also about learning and transformation. Helena and Lucas, each in their own way, exemplify the hard lessons that come with the choices we make. While Helena regains control of her life and strengthens her defenses, Lucas faces the long and arduous journey of personal reconstruction. Both remind us that true wealth lies in integrity, genuine relationships, and the ability to learn and grow from our mistakes. The story invites us to consider the importance of honesty, empathy, and justice in our own lives. In a world where the pursuit of success can easily become a trap, it is crucial to remember that our values and actions define who we are. True victory lies in living with integrity and respect, both for ourselves and for others. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support is essential to us. And now, an exciting new story is coming up on your screen.